what's up? It's Saraciea Fennell, the founder of the Bronxist Bronx Book Festival. I'm here with my lovely friend, Freedman, and we are chatting about the book pickup for the Bronxist Reading Book Club. So today it's been a little up and down, same as yesterday when I was giving away books at the Freedman Home. I just discovered that this is Freedman's first book club, so I'm excited to chat with her.
Never been part of a real book club. I've read books that my friends have read and we've talked about it, but not in this type of setting where we all get to gather and talk and discuss and ask questions and express, so I'm looking forward to it.
So you mentioned that you read a lot and that obviously we've all read a lot of the same books.
Right.
So what are you looking to gain from the book club experience?
I'm just looking to get that, like, I guess that togetherness or that like common ground of like we're all reading it like at the same time. I think that's a big difference in just like, oh, I read that book last month and then I'm just going to pass it along to you and now you read it. Like the fact that we're all reading it at the same time is kind of exciting and it's fun, and then we all get together.
Yeah, so it's very interesting that you mentioned the gathering part. That's a sense of community, right? And in the Bronx in particular, it's something that's very invisible. I talk about this a lot, that there is a literary scene here, but again, the Bronx is so cut up and split up by all of these highways and roadways and things like that. And there are definitely people who are meeting and trying to promote books and promote reading, but there aren't many book clubs. And my book club in particular, I'm hoping to focus on Bronx natives first, obviously. So we're kicking off with They Both Die at the End, which is by Bronx native Adam Silvera. He's one of my favorite authors. I'm super excited to introduce him to a ton of new readers in the Bronx. Yesterday when people were picking up the book, a lot of them had never heard of him. So, you know, I'm expanding his author network by introducing new readers, and a lot of people were just like, I didn't even realize, you know, there were books like this by Bronx authors, or that there were Bronx authors doing really cool stuff like this. So that brought me so much pride. The other plus was I was at the Freedman Home yesterday, and everyone that came in, out of the 25 to 30 people that, you know, stopped by, had never been in the Freedman Home. And the book pickup was at the Freedman Home Library, and I encourage people to check out that space and to also check out the beautiful art installations that they have there. And everyone was just like, wow, this space is phenomenal. I can't wait to commune here and talk about this book. Why something like a book club is important to you, especially something locally where you don't have to actually leave the borough to engage in something like this.
Well, because like we don't have a bookstore anymore, which I know was one of your main reasons for starting the Bronx is Reading. We don't have Barnes and Nobles, we don't have anything, and so like I always enjoyed reading ever since I was in school, and now that I'm a parent, I want to encourage my child to get into reading. And so if we don't have to like travel all the way to Manhattan or to Brooklyn to go and just buy a book or partake in a book fair or book festival, the fact that we can go to the Freedman Home, which is like in a central location. It's like close enough for I think a lot of people to get to. Everybody knows how to get to the Concourse. But unfortunately, like myself, I've never been inside of that, you know, establishment. So like, I'm really looking forward to congregating there and like discussing the book and just, you know, having that experience and having it local where we don't have to travel and, you know, this is a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, especially when you're traveling with kids. It becomes like a whole adventure. It's not just, okay, we're gonna grab our purse, grab our bag, and take our book. It's like, oh, I gotta make sure I have wipes and, you know, just like all of, like, you gotta bring the whole kitchen sink with you, basically, if you're leaving the borough, if you have kids.
But every month, if we have a new book and it's something that the whole family can get into, then it's great that it's gonna be at this location where everybody can gather.
So I announced the Bronxist Reading Book Club on Thursday, July 26th. and immediately over 75 people had registered within 3 days to get a free book. So you had to be a Bronx resident to qualify for that. But then I also wanted to open up the book club for anyone. So, you know, wherever you are, if you want to join the book club and read along with us, you can. And about 75 people signed up for that. So over 100 people altogether. I'm super excited about this. I distributed the book Saturday, August 4th, and I added an extra day. So I'm here Sunday, August 5th. Distributing more books, and thanks to Refine for lovely volunteering, we're gonna have book pickup during the week in the afternoon. So for all of you who couldn't pick up your book, you now have a third chance to do so.
Yes.
This initiative is super important to me. I understand, we don't have a bookstore here. We do have libraries, so I encourage you to use your library if you would like to read along and you're not a Bronx resident, or if you are a Bronx resident and you missed the window to sign up for a free copy. Please utilize your library. It's your best friend. Definitely free books. You can't keep them, but still you can read the book, enjoy the story. The other part is I understand that a lot of us cannot afford books, right? That's just the reality for whatever reason. And so by doing this, I have partnered with different sponsors to bring free books into the borough. So now you have no excuse. You cannot say, I don't have the money to buy the book. You cannot say, I can't go to my library to check out the book. You have an opportunity to get a free copy and to read it. Hopefully you love the book. If you don't, pass it on to someone else so they can read it. You never know. You might spark a love of reading in someone else. Did you already know about Adam Silvera as a Bronx author, or were you introduced? Did I introduce him to you?
I remember his name from the book festival, but I didn't realize that he was from the Bronx. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
It is a fun fact. Have you read any other authors from the Bronx? Do you know of any?
I'm not sure. I've read a lot of books, but now that you're mentioning this, I don't really go deep into where each author is from. But I think that that's something that now we need to be more aware of, and just take a moment and just Google or look into where these people are from so we can support our people.
Have you read a lot of books that take place in the Bronx?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So do you see that as an issue? What do you think of that?
Right. I think that they might enjoy the books. They're familiar. They're reading a book and they see, oh, this is taking place near Yankee Stadium, or this is taking place, Van Cortlandt Park, places that, or near the zoo, places that they know and that they've gone to. It might help them, be more
encouraged
to read more, because they'll think that there's more to reading than just these foreign places that they might not ever go to. And so
that's one of the things I really love about reading, right? There are some books where I'm like, oh my god, I know that place. Yes, I've been there. I've sat there and I've eaten there. It's fabulous. And then there are other books that I read where I'm like, man, I've never been to Idaho, but it's so cool that this book takes place there, and I'm learning these things about it. And I think that's one of the joys of reading. You get to find things in the book that you can identify with, whether that's the setting or the characters or the themes. That angry, emotional feeling that the character is going through. We've all been angry before, we've all been happy before. So it's just finding different levels of ways to connect, and that's what I love about reading. We can really expand our mind. You can become more empathetic. And I think it's important to read widely. So I'm super excited to introduce Bronxites to books published by Bronx authors and books that take place in the Bronx.
Yes.
Because what I'm hearing is a lot of people don't know.
Right.
A lot of people from the Bronx are like, wait, what? I never knew. I didn't know about this person. But now that I know, they'll look for their next book and things like that. Obviously, I want everyone to join in. I love the idea of having a social aspect to the book club. So if you are not in the Bronx, or you are from the Bronx but you're not living here currently and you can't make the book club in person, I would love for you to still read along with us. You can share your thoughts online. You can tag me on Instagram at the Bronx is Reading, or Twitter at the BX is Reading, or on Facebook, which is under Bronx Book Festival. And you can just tag and comment and say like, here's what I loved about the book, and just make sure that you use the hashtag TBIR Club to make sure that everyone is seeing it, and everyone that's a part of the book club can follow along and read your thoughts, and you can engage with us in that way. I am also hoping to either possibly film the book club on during the days that it's actually taking place, and then maybe later putting that footage online. So more to come on that. I'm exploring ideas of possibly doing a podcast for the Bronx is Reading book club, so that if there are people who missed the discussion but they would like to listen in later on. So I'm thinking of ways to keep the conversation going beyond the actual meeting. So if people want to come back and say, I really enjoyed, my very first book club, and you can have those memories. I'm a hoarder of memories. I keep everything. So I think having something either online or an auditory thing for you to listen to later on would be really awesome. So fingers crossed that I get it right. Fingers crossed that I have the bandwidth to do it.
It's taking me back to the festival that you had back in May, where they had this stuff set up with the t-shirts and the bookmarkers and everything, the lip bar, and I love that name, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think I need to take a trip over there to check it out.
The South Bronx is obviously one of the severely poorest areas, and they don't really have a lot of resources, and I think it's fabulous that we have the Lip Bar in the South Bronx, and we have Boogie Down Books, which is a bookstore without walls, but most of that is in the South Bronx. So again, I just feel like I think it's amazing that what's happening there, but I'm also from the North Bronx, and so I want something up here, and so obviously I'm working on trying to figure out what more can I do uptown. What I am sort of still emotional about is the Barnes & Noble was in the North Bronx, which I'm sure that's why a lot of South Bronx peeps did not come uptown to go there. But that Barnes & Noble was pretty close for people in the Palm Parkway area and the Parkchester area and things like that, and it closed. And so there's still nothing up here, and I'm trying to figure out ways that I can bridge the gap on that, because I think it's fabulous now that the South Bronx will have a bookstore, but I think there still needs to be one in the North Bronx. So I think there's room for that, room for growth. If I could have a bookstore in every freaking corner, I think that would be amazing. But I do understand that the other part of opening up a bookstore is supporting it. So I hope that everyone will support, the Lip Bar, support Boogie Down Books. If you can, support what I'm doing. Just support every literary initiative that you can. And my question for you, Refine, is you had mentioned that, you realized that the Lip Bar had sold the books at the festival, and now you know about Boogie Down Books, which is a pop-up in the South Bronx. What do you think about living uptown, further up, and not having a bookstore in your area? What ways have you been engaging with books and making sure that your son is surrounded by literature and things like that?
Well, fortunately, we have quite a few libraries in this area, the area where I live, Pelham Parkway, Allerton, area. So we're always, we can always go to the public library, and we still have books from the festival that we haven't gotten to. But other than that, there is a strong need for a new store in the northern Bronx. Like I said before, just to travel further downtown, towards South Bronx into Manhattan, could be a little bit of a hassle at times if you're traveling with family and kids. So I'm really looking forward to see what will happen, and if everything that you've been doing and bringing awareness to the fact that the North Bronx doesn't have a bookstore. I'm hoping that something will happen.
The libraries in this area are phenomenal.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is the Bronx Library Center.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful space. They have a very robust collection. But yeah, I encourage,
Right.
the only way these things will stay around is if you support. So support your libraries. Go in there. If you see a new book has been published by one of your favorite authors, sometimes libraries they won't have everything on circulation unless you go in and request it. And if there's a large demand, then sometimes that library will actually purchase a set, either 1 or 2 books to have for that branch. I mean, the New York Public Library is great because you can request something and it can come from any of the branches, and you can pick it up at your local branch, which I think is awesome. So definitely support them. Definitely support the Lit Bar. That's the official bookseller for the book festival. So you will see Noelle and I again in 2019. So stay tuned for that. Boogie Down Books is doing wonderful initiatives, and their focus is on children and teens, which is fantastic, and also educators. So whatever you can do to support these Bronxites, please do, so that we stay around. And if you can't support us, spreading the word, because knowledge is power. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I would love by 2020 to have the whole entire borough reading. And so I have something special planned for 2020, but you got to be following me and the conversation to know what that is. So let's continue to engage, whether it's online or in person or coming to any of my events.